Thanks, Elizabeth. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the first week of the 2024 CFC training session. As Liz noted, my name is Robin Neal, and I am board chair of the Combined Federal Campaign Foundation. On behalf of the Foundation Board, we are so happy to be able to present this training conference, working in partnership with the Office of Personnel Management, Office of the CFC. This training will take place over the span of 2 weeks. Today, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern each day, and August 19th through the 22nd for the same time. This training is geared to all who support the program, including campaign leadership and staff, volunteers, donors, and nonprofits. At the end of each day, presenters will stay on to address any questions that you may have. I'd like to give you a little bit of information on the CFC Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to promote and support the CFC, one of the largest workplace giving programs in the nation. Your participation in the program has resulted in $8.9 billion to nonprofits since the CFC began in 1961. The CFC Foundation is not a participating nonprofit in the CFC. Our main focus is working to engage, inspire, and empower all involved in the CFC to build a stronger CFC. Each month, the Foundation hosts a National CFC Committee meeting during which campaign stakeholders share ideas and strategize on how to promote and improve the CFC. Part of this mission is the work we do to put together this training and other training sessions over the years. Some of you may have been in attendance, either in person or virtually, but we are constantly working to assist in growing the campaign in other ways that are meaningful in impact. This year, the Foundation led a task force to review the 2011 CFC Commission report, which was issued at the 50th anniversary of the CFC, and this report led to a rule change in 2017. The task force provided recommendations to OPM on what we felt worked and what we felt could be improved upon. The task force focused on 3 key areas, and those were charity retention, donor retention, and suggestions for overall improvements. You will be hearing more about our recommendations the week of August 19th. If you would also like to participate in the monthly National CFC Committee meetings to become more engaged in CFC activities, please feel free to contact me at rneal, R-N-E-A-L, @charities.org to be added to our distribution list. This training truly has something for everyone. There are sessions geared towards campaign managers and key workers, and others focused on the nonprofit experience in the CFC. There is so much here that will appeal to all, whether you're new to the CFC or a bit more seasoned. I also encourage you to check out our program agenda on givecfc.org/nationalcfc. Again, that's givecfc.org/nationalcfc. As a bit of housekeeping, at the end of each training week, we will be sending out a survey and information on how to access the session videos and supplemental materials. So thank you all for being here and for your support and partnership and passion for this program. Our first session is CFC 101, and CFC 1 is geared towards the nonprofits in the CFC and designed to be a nuts and bolts guide. If you are new to the CFC or just want a refresher, I encourage you to check it out. Thank you again for your partnership and support, and thank you for being here. I'm now turning it over to Mike May, President of MP May Incorporated, to take us into CFC 101. Over to you, Mike.
Mike, you're muted.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you, Robin, and everyone. Thank you for joining us today. A couple of weeks ago, they sent out the registration list for the people that were signing up for these trainings over the next 2 weeks. There were 600 people registered. 500 of them were charities. That tells you how important this training is, and that you're with people that have the same questions you do. We do these trainings year round. Not only are we the National Charity Recruitment Outreach Coordinator, but as Jen will explain to you and the rest of my team, we also run CFC campaigns in 21 zones. So we work with charities, we run campaigns, we work with volunteers, and so your questions are vital to us, and we can ask them primarily as we get started. You'll see in the chat already, I was watching it, a lot of information is getting requested and distributed, and that's the way we like to train. We have sites, we have websites, we'll jump around, we'll even possibly, let somebody unmute and ask a question. But primarily, yeah, we're talking heads, but we have a lot of information up to date. We had 7 of our zones were up last year, so we have success right behind us. And we want to get you the information because, and Robin, could you, I'm sorry, Robin, Elizabeth, could you start the poll? We're gonna enter a poll or start a poll here because we want you to know if this is your first year, you're not alone. Most of the people that attend our trainings are first year, second year folks in the CFC. All our trainings are geared towards that because every year in the development departments across the country, 6,000 CFC charities, 30% turnover every year, sometimes more. So please answer the poll when you get a chance. We'll show you the results. We're going to start with the agenda for today. CFC, how it works. We're going to go through applying to the CFC. Then we're going to go to CFC Charities, your account at CFC Charities. We're going to break and do a Cahoots game about top of the hour. And then we're going to go into CFC events, marketing your CFC, and givecfc.org. We bounce a lot between the slides, so we keep on track, but then we go to the live sites so you get a sense of what the resources are, where they are. We put links in the chat also for you to follow along if you want to get more familiar with what's there. So again, the folks in the chat should, from my team, have a name that looks like me, Mike May, NPM CFC Outreach Coordinator. Outreach coordinators are those folks that are hired to market the campaign to both federal employees, teach folks how the campaign operates, and make sure that the benefits of the campaign flow to all the charities and all the participants. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer Howard. Jennifer is probably the most accomplished CFC trainer and has been for the last 17 years when it comes to explaining to folks how the CFC works. Like everybody's a third grader, and Jen will explain it to us so we understand it. Before the turnover, each year the Office of Personnel Management would have an annual gathering. Remember those annual face-to-face meetings that we used to have in hotels, and we take over a hotel and 200 people would be there, and it'd be a lot of fun. Jen would run the CFC 101, how it works for CFC volunteers, federal employees. And so she's going to start with that. Like I said, we're going to go with CFC, how it works. Then I'm going to go to the applying CFC charities, and we'll break at the top of the hour for the Cahoots game. So again, is there anything, Jen, in the chat that you want to address before we turn it over to you and get started on our agenda?
Yeah, the only thing I want to do real quick is just ask, first of all, if the real Curtis Rumbaugh could please stand up. I'm not sure where he's at today, but to everybody who used his link to come in, and you'll know because your name says Curtis Rumbaugh and you are not the real Curtis Rumbaugh, please go to those 3 little dots, select them, rename yourself to your correct name. That helps us to know who we're communicating with. It's very helpful. I know there's quite a few Curtis Rumbaughs on the call today. And of course, as always, thank you, Curtis, for all you do. Clearly, you got the message out wide and far to get people here today, so appreciate that. All right, let's get this started. So CFC, what is it? How does it work? So I think we're all aware that CFC is the federal government's workplace giving campaign. It is the one opportunity each fall, September 1st through January 15th, where federal employees will go out and invite their colleagues to give back to something they care about. And that is something that is unique and very, it's a beautiful aspect of the combined federal campaign, is that it is one employee inviting another employee to give. It's very, they're very intentional that there's no coercion. Contractors, us as contractors, I'll explain that in a minute, we don't go out asking people to participate. It is literally one colleague to another inviting each other to participate and support something they care about. So it's a very beautiful movement amongst our federal workforce where, you know, tens of millions, and in fact, since its inception in 1961, $8.9 billion has been raised by federal employees and now retirees, contractors, et cetera, that can participate. So that is what the Combined Federal Campaign is. Next slide. This is a lovely map of the CFC and its zones. There are 35, I think, zones actually. We've got some numbers that are a little bit not in order per se, because we've had some mergers since the reconsolidation of zones. But you can go to givecfc.org, and under the About section, you can find the local zones. And so that's where I grabbed this map. You can come here. You can even click on the zones to get directly to those various zones pages that exist within this Give CFC site. So this is a map of the campaign, so you can see as a whole. There's also an overseas campaign, as you can see down there, Zone 38, which covers all of our military people who are deployed. They have a campaign as well that operates, but there are a number of zones. And so if you back up one slide, Mike, you'll notice that that chart I gave you where I listed them, that there's green and blue here. And so that was a segue into the next slide, please. The green area is the area that MP May, Mike, myself, colleagues of mine that are on the call, if you guys just want to wave at the camera, several of us are here today. MP May is responsible for 21 zones. Tribal Tech, our friends and counterpart contractor, operate 14 zones. There are 3 other contracts involved with the work of the Combined Federal Campaign. And for me, I do try to keep it very third grade level. I appreciate kind of understanding full circle how things operate. So there are 4 total contracts that operate this work. You've got the local zone contracts, which is each one of these zones. You got national charity recruitment that is operated by MP May, where we go out each year and we recruit charities to participate. Then you have Common Core Services, which is, for example, what directly affects you guys, and we'll talk about later, is the event system. And then there's also the national marketing contract. The Common Core Services and the national marketing contract are operated by Tribal Tech, our counterpart. So just gives you an understanding of all the components that go in to make the Combined Federal Campaign possible. Separate from this is forward facing. There is one other contract, the back end, and that is operated by TASC, the CCA, the Central Campaign Administrator. You'll hear us talk about the CCA task that operates that. That is your charity.gov site, your giving.gov site, where people donate and charities apply to the campaign. So that system is, and here we go. This is the site here that Mike's taking us to. He loves to bounce around and show people in action the actual thing. So cfcgiving.opm.gov is the site where federal employees go to make a pledge. CFC is the only employee benefit that touches every employee the same. Unlike their healthcare or their retirement, other benefits, they are provided by different service providers, whether you are military or civilian, postal, etc. The CFC, however, is the one benefit they have that touches every federal employee the same, in that they come to this single site, the secure site, to make their contributions to the causes they care about. So that is CFC Giving, where people make a pledge, and then you have CFC Charities, and this is where our nonprofits go. And hopefully all of you have already been here and know your login information. cfccharities.opm.gov is where you guys go to log in, to apply, to track your results during the campaign. You can go in there and see how much has been pledged. You can access previous years' applications, donor information. This should be bookmarked by your organization. You should be logging into it regularly, staying connected to it to again, understand how much has been raised as you work through the campaign. You've applied here, you will pay your listing fee here, you will enter all of your information here, and everything is kept there for you. So again, have it bookmarked, know how to get in, and have multiple emails registered there so that when they are communicating with you, they are communicating with more than one email. That's a pro tip we like to tell our charities. So those are the contractors involved. Again, you've got 4 of them that Mike just loves to move so fast. I think I'm getting clocked on him. So jumping to the timeline, thanks, Mike. As I mentioned, the campaign opens September 1st. It will operate through January 15th. This is open season where federal employees are inviting federal employees to participate. This is when that site goes live. They can go on and actively make a pledge. We are already recruiting volunteers right now. As I speak, I have a team of people that are outreaching, recruiting, identifying volunteers for this fall all across the country that are going to serve in their offices to promote and encourage people to participate in the campaign. The campaign, while it operates September 1 through January 15th, we don't see heavy campaigning occur truthfully until after October 1st. And that's because September is fiscal year end for the government. And so it's hard to get a lot of training and a lot of activity going on in September. That's just, the nature of the timing of this campaign. There are some accounts that will run campaigns, and there will be kickoffs and there will be activities absolutely in September. But you will see that battle rhythm of activity pick up more heavily after October 1st. And of course, very heavily as we get into November and December. So we will have a plethora of trainings all through August, September, and into October, not only to train our federal employees on how to have successful campaigns, but also charity trainings, local, national, international trainings that we will provide to help educate you on how to best promote yourself, participate, engage with the campaign this fall. Also important to note that, as I mentioned, while the campaign kind of starts off a little bit slow, then it hits this peak. Really, Giving Tuesday is the kickoff. It's the start of the giving season. After Giving Tuesday, December 1st through January 15th, the majority of the contributions come in. So last year we saw in the first 3 months, 26 million raised. The last 6 weeks, over 50 million came in. So pretty typical. We see this year over year. It's just kind of how the campaign works in the timeline. So again, that cfccharities.opm.gov, that is your friend. Bookmark it, go there, track your results all through the campaign. Reach out to your donors, promote your charity participating in the campaign this fall. And that's all I have on CFC, what it is and kind of how it works. Oh, how to give. Pretty simple online. I already showed you that system. There's also a paper card. We don't have a lot of people using the paper card, but we do have some donors that still do use the paper card. Those are going to be primarily agencies like Postal or Homeland Security, employees that don't have access to a computer or necessarily sit at a desk for their day job. So there still is a paper pledge card. We also have the feature text to donate, where we can promote giving online through a text feature. And then there is a CFC mobile app that once you've created an account, you can use that app to very easily make contributions. And I like to do that as I attend events. Having my app downloaded and logged into that is a very easy way to give. So this is for the federal employee side. Contractors, retirees also participate in the campaign this fall. Again, online. I think it was about 96% of donors chose online as their method for participating in the campaign last year. And that's what I got, Mike. Any questions in the chat or?
Before we go forward, yes, Lauren, there will be a recording. All these sessions are going to be recorded and will be shared by the National CFC Foundation, and you can review these. And as Jen said, we continue to train locally, local charities. We also train national charities. There's still some stuff that's marketing-wise that's being determined, that's being released. We're only at the end of July. Campaign materials, the national list. Everybody here is in the middle of the listing fee phase of the campaign.
Now that it got
So
going, yeah.
Make sure you mute yourself as you come on.
Same one.
Thanks. So any questions, Antonia, Bruce, Kath, anything in the chat that you want to unmute and ask or relate that you thought was important?
Mike, I do want to acknowledge there were a few people talking about access to their account. Anytime you have difficulties accessing your account at cfccharities.org, you're going to want to go to that contact us there and reach out to them directly to gain access to your account. As an outreach coordinator, that contract, we do not have the ability to support you with that. You'll have to go directly through this help desk to gain access. They're very helpful in our experience, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. If you can't get them through email, you might pick up the phone and just give them a call.
And one other thing that I did see a few times in the chat, I know you said that the sessions are being recorded and will be shared with by the foundation, but also asking if the slides will be shared as well.
Yes, they will be. We can share those too. We might be able to drop them in the chat. So yes, and everybody's going to answer as they come in. But this is the help desk. So you go to CFC Charities. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But remember, as Jen intimated on the cfccharities.opm.gov, and that's what we're talking about now, is applying to the CFC. Every year, folks at the cfccharities.org website have hundreds of requests to update the people because the last person that was responsible for your charity moved on and didn't do the handoff, give you the creds. And so there is a process, and while it is not as simple as any of us would like, security in this system is job one. So don't get too frustrated. They'll help you get through it, and they have a pretty good process. I know, Kath, we've shared many times with people what that process is. I think they've given out last year. There was a 2 or 3 page process depending on where you are and what you have to do, whether you've forgotten your password, whether you need to reset it, whether you need to add a user. So remember, it's doable. They do it all the time, but security is job one in everything that has CFC associated with it. So be patient, and now is the time to do it. And we're going to get into applying to the CFC. So there are just a ton of resources. When you go to Give CFC and you hit charities, down here it's broken up into 2 sections. Currently participating charities and charities thinking about applying. And so everybody in the campaign has, if you're in here now, has applied to the campaign, but there is a timeline that I want everybody to know. August 9th is the target date for any charity that's on appeal. You know if you're on appeal. And August 9th, so again, I went to application resources, I went to the charity tab here, went to application resources, and there's a timeline here. And in that timeline, you'll see that eligibility decisions were issued on the 10th. And then after you're approved, if you're on appeal, we go through that process separately, but after you're approved, you have until August 16th to pay your listing fee. I'm going to talk a little bit about the listing fee in a minute, but make sure if you haven't paid your listing fee or you don't know what that means after we explain it, you do need to get onto your account here at CFC Charities and go through that process, because no charity will be listed on the Give CFC site, so donors can give to you. CFC Giving, find a charity, and all the charities are listed here. You're not listed here unless you pay your listing fee. So it's like a 2-step process, application fee and a listing fee. So the online application process, if you ever have any questions, going to this resource page is the key, and it will help you tremendously. In fact, that's right here. We're talking about the listing fee. So the application process is a process that has a 3-year cycle. The first year you apply, there is what's called a full application, and then the next 2 years is called a verification application. So if you have been in the process and done a full application, it's when they ask for all the requirements, and all the requirements are listed on the, and I think they took down, there's an application user guide here, and there's a lot of resources that you have that are available. But you go onto your account, which I don't have access to and I can't get on the back end, to apply each year to the campaign. And you will have either a full application or a verification application. Full application is you have to provide areas of service where you provide local services and other requirements. The verification application is just uploading your IRS Form 990 along with verifying that, yes, what we said we did last year or 2 years ago is still something that we provide. So you click that verification certification page, and then you upload your 990 and you're done. We have a tremendous amount of nonprofits that might come in during the verification process, right, the second or third year. And then when they get to the full application process, they have a lot of questions. It's not unusual. The application process starts each year on December 1. We expect it to start December 1, 2024, and then runs through January 30th, 31st is the early deadline, and then there's a late fee deadline of February 29th. And we will have and continue to have all our application resources posted here. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the application process because all of you have already successfully navigated it. I do want to emphasize the listing fee and going into your organization's account at CFC Charities and making sure that you are listed, you've paid the listing fee, and you do that by this date in 3 weeks. Okay? So the application process is annual. I just went to the CFC Charities. We've talked a lot about that. But once you get into this site, this screenshot's a little old. And so I just want you to understand, when you get into your account, this is what we call in the CFC, and what you'll see a lot of is a video called, Track Your CFC Results. And there's a video here because on your account at CFC Charities, you have your organization's entire historical record in the CFC. This is the most transparent, data-rich workplace campaign in the country. I've been doing this since 1990, folks. I know how the state campaigns work. I know how Benevity works. I know how United Way works. The CFC will give you all the information that your organization has had as soon as you get access to this account. And why that's so important, especially when we're talking about the charity application, is when you get to that full year, verification year is easy, right? Verification year, click a button, upload the 990, and you're ready to go. But the full application can be a little more time consuming. They're asking for a little bit more information. You can go back and view your detail, your organization's detail that was included the last time you had a full application. You update that information for 2024, 25, 26, and you can ask questions based on what that information is, and you can see what the application process was for your organization going all the way back to 2017. Very, very helpful, data-rich information. And then when you get on there right now, you're going to see something that has 2017 all the way up to 2024, and it's going to have your listing fee. And this is where you are required to click on this, view details, and see how your organization listed. What's that mean? When you list in the CFC, you have this information available, and every organization has this information available. When you pay your listing fee, you can upload your the information that was submitted last year, or you can update it, and you can put in your logo, put in your URL, you put in your contact information, and then you have a 256 character statement that you include. And that's what every organization has. Your AFR percentage is calculated from your IRS Form 990. You can see the value of that as somebody puts in a hospice, or let's say you put in a veterans organization. And there's a lot of them. And so as you look at this, whether it's local or national is listed there, whether you are, what zone you're in is listed there. whether you're a member of a federation or not. That's the M versus the I. And then what you submitted for your organization's listing is right here. And this is what every federal employee gets to see when they search this site. This is the phase we're in right now. Make sure you get it right. Don't get too technical when you're doing your 256 character statement. You want to describe your services, and this is also part of the search engine. It's not just name, it's statement. So if you have something that's not in your name, and you know from your search engine optimization, you know, your SEO, when you're Google, if you have keywords, don't give me a string of keywords here. That's not what I'm saying. But you want to include something if it's not in your name in this 256 character statement. So when people do put in veterans, and I'll just, I'm sure there's someplace in here, one of these organizations. So it's the Puppy Jake Foundation. Okay, Puppy Jake doesn't have veterans in its name, but it came when I clicked in. I like that name because veterans was in their 256 character statement. Okay, so that's the listing fee. That's what we're in now. And this is the site where people go, federal employees go to do their searches. And the searches can be very unique. I can look for an animal organization in Cascadia with overhead less than 15%. And 34 of them came up. So there's a very powerful back-end engine here that gives donors a lot of control over what they search for, how they search, and where they search. Okay? So again, this is how the campaign works. As Jen explained it, you have federal employees asking each other to give, directing them to this site, saying find your local charity, find your national charity, find your cause area, and that's how the campaign markets to issues. And Jen, I don't think that we had a section or you addressed it. Do you want to talk a little bit about cause areas, to put you on the spot? Do you want to talk a little bit about how the campaign markets to cause areas and what that means as we move the campaign through? I mean, imagine it's 16 weeks of campaigning. 18 weeks of campaigning. You can't say give to the CFC 18 times on Facebook or in messaging that we send out weekly to remind people. What you say is, you know, give happy, consider giving to animals, give to veterans the next week. And so do you want to explain cause issues a little bit, Jen? I think you're muted.
Thanks, Mike. Absolutely. I'm happy to jump in and talk a little bit about this. So the CFC has a theme each year. This year it is, again, like last year, give happy. And along with that, this year they are also highlighting words of impact. And so in the messaging of give happy, we also have kind of this cause concept of you know, animal welfare. So the impact word is companionship. So you're going to see give companionship as an impact, an emphasis of impact around the cause area of animal welfare. We've also got the cause areas of arts and humanities and children and family support. You've got disaster, hunger, housing, medical research, poverty. There's quite a few of them. I mean, there really is something for every charity here. In fact, these cause areas were constructed based on the taxonomy codes that you guys select when you complete your listing process. So you've applied, you get approved, then you have to go in and give us additional information to be listed with your information, as Mike was showing you earlier. So when you go through that process, these are the taxonomy codes. You're going to select 3 of them. Maybe you are in the area of education, but you educate you know, people about you know, medical research and cancer-related specific to children or something. So you can kind of, think about your organization, what's its primary purpose, whether it's hunger or housing, and then do you also have programs that help to educate or, do any of those other areas. So you're able to pick 3 of them, as I mentioned, when you do your listing portion. But I think most importantly, knowing that these cause weeks exist is important. On the social media pages, we post about this. We post content around, example, the week of Veterans Day, you're going to see posts about veterans, right? We've got that cause week that will be promoted that week. If your organization works with veterans in any capacity, go grab our posts, share them, and say, hey, we're CFC approved on your page. That's an easy way to market yourself while sharing content that's already been created. Federal employees know the CFC logo. Them hearing that you're a CFC approved charity means that you're vetted, and in their minds, you're approved for them to give contributions to. So pay attention to the social media pages, especially where you're located. Going back to those zones, you can get on there and search North Texas Combined Federal Campaign, any of these names, Gateway, Heartland, Alaska. Mid-Atlantic region is the new zone name for the National Capital Area. So if you're in the DC or Chesapeake Bay area, that area is now Mid-Atlantic CFC, Zone 39 that you see down there. So you're going to want to notate that if you're in the National Capital Area. You're used to seeing NCA. You will now see Mid-Atlantic CFC going forward. So go find the page, follow it, share those posts, and use those cause messages to promote the work of your organization. It's a real easy lift for your organization.
It's a good question I saw in the site, and Jen, I'm going to come back to you again after I answer that question, but it says promoting yourself in the CFC. We're going to get there, but yes, there is an opportunity for you to download all this information, QR codes, CFC logo, the Give Happy logo, the individual ones that you might want to use if you're an animal organization, Give Companionship. So that's going to be coming up. Remember, that's after the Kahoot game, marketing yourself in the CFC. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But one last thing before we move on, and again, I'm going to ask Jen to talk about it a little bit, is the opportunity to pledge for federal employees to pledge volunteer hours. So when your organization applies into the Combined Federal Campaign, you're asked about whether you have volunteer hours, and it's become a very important resource for federal employees to take advantage of during their consideration of giving through the CFC. We've seen it grow each year. It started in 2017. We did used to have a process for that. When you apply, it's going to have this hand right here at the end that shows that volunteers are welcome, and you're able to put in what your some of your volunteer programs as you go through this process. And federal employees have, and you want to talk about it, Jen, about how it works for federal employees. I think sometimes they also get together and try to volunteer locally as a group. Does that happen?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. So federal employees, in some cases, not in all, what works for one agency doesn't always work for another. That's just how government works. But in some cases, federal employees are actually permitted to use X amount of time per pay period to volunteer. And in fact, it's our understanding that there might be an opportunity for postal employees to do this fall. I've seen where the Peace Corps employees have had this code before where they can volunteer time. And at the end of the day, the fact is, federal employees are public servants. This is who they are. They love to roll up their sleeves. They love to volunteer. They love to engage. And so going back to that application process, once you're approved and now it's time to provide your listing information, this is a piece of information that you need to provide. It kind of surprises me how many charities I still see that don't have the hand, which signifies that they've said yes to volunteer hour, that they have a volunteer program, that they don't provide this. So, if you have a volunteer program, make sure that little hand, that little circle at the end that you've selected yes to it, you'll need to provide a little bit of information to include what your organization deems the value of an hour. It's not what the employee makes an hour, but you have to provide a value, because these federal employees, if they say, hey, Marley's Mutts, okay, or Almost Home, I was trying to read it. Marley's Mutts Dog Rescue, I'm going to go volunteer at this organization, the hands up, I'm going to put 10 hours in, and they say the value of my hour is worth $10. Well, then I'm going to get a $100, value attached to my pledge, because I have pledged my time. So it's not just our monetary contributions, it's also our time that we are allowed to account for when it comes to raising money and making a difference in our community. And federal employees love to volunteer. Sometimes they do this individually, and sometimes they do it as a group. You will see federal agencies come together as a group and they say, hey, we're going to go down to, the local food bank or the animal shelter or any number of nonprofit organizations delivering meals, etc. And they will come together in support of this because it's team building, and it's who they are as public servants. So if you have a volunteer program, please make sure you've identified that through the listing process. And also, not every federal employee is going to release their information. They're supposed to, and they're encouraged to, especially if they say they want to volunteer. We educate them to let them know, hey, you've pledged hours to volunteer. If you don't release your information to your charity, they have no way of contacting you. So in that case, we let them know, if you're not going to release your information, it's on you to pick up the phone and call said organization. So I do know some federal employees will pick up the phone and call, Lucky Mutt's Dog Shelter or whatever it was that I mentioned. And they will say, hey, I'm a federal employee. I pledged hours. Hopefully they let you know I didn't release my information, but I would like to fulfill those hours. And so whoever answers your phone, letting them know that you could get that call from federal employees saying that they've pledged hours, that's an important thing that they should be aware of. So if you have a volunteer program, please make sure you click that button, select it, and look forward to having federal employees support your mission with their time. And often that leads also to a monetary contribution, as we all know.
Now, everybody is following the chat, and Antonia, Bruce, Maureen, you guys are crushing it. Thank you. I sometimes like tracking those questions more than just being the talking head. But yes, Robert Jennings, thank you. Everybody that's in the system now is from last year's campaign. Not until all the listing fees have been paid and processed do we kick off the 2024 campaign. CFC site stays open all the way through August 1 of each year, and then it goes dormant for 30 days. So all the new information, charities, marketing, all that information can get updated to the site. So we're just at the tail end of the 2023 session. So if you've already paid your listing fee and everything and you're new, you're not going to show up on the giving site right now. These are all people from last year as the campaign wraps up its last week, basically, of posting these charities, and then goes dormant, and for 30 days, all the new information gets updated. Real quick, I want to go, because Jen's going to start telling me I'm getting off time, and we want Bruce to break this up. I know it feels like you guys are drinking from a fire hose. I get it. We're here. Everybody on our team, everybody at OPM, everybody at the National CFC Foundation, we're all here to help you. There's a long way to go before the campaign starts for 2024. So we wanted to invite you here to give you kind of the broad overview in this CFC 101. But one thing we do want you to do is when you go to this site, I told you everything's there since 2017. That includes information about the donors who gave to you. So when you click on pledges, and you go to view it, that's right, only about 20% release their name. But if you have 20% of the charities that gave to you in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, shoot them out an email around September 15th and say, hey, you've given to us in the past. These are federal employees that use their personal email. I have a brother that's been in the military for 30 years. He still has the same Gmail account. And even though he's had, 30 different posts, same Gmail account. So that's true with most federal employees. They put that personal email there and reach out to them. Thank you for giving to us in the past. Thank you for supporting our program. We're back in the CFC. Don't do it now. Do it in September, and we're going to train. Everybody's going to get more information on this when we come back out to you locally in Cascadia and Alaska and the different regions, and National Capital Area. Tribal Tech does the same thing. But make a plan to go out and reach out to those people. And when you go to the listing, it also provides information on where the pledges came from. Because just if you're in Houston, as this organization sees, this organization still got pledges. Sorry, it's not a great screenshot. From Heartland, Heart of the Midlands, Northern California, North Texas. So local charities can get pledges from federal employees around the country. Why is that important? I'm an Air Force brat, moved 14 times in 18 years. So back in the day, you couldn't give to the charity when you went from Spokane to Nebraska. You couldn't give to, the local hospice or the Catholic charities that you supported in Spokane, but now you can. You can give to any local charity in the country, and any local charity gets usually pledges from around the country. So that's why this information that we were talking about your account at CFC Charities is your best friend in the CFC. Go watch that video. It's an excellent video to give you an understanding of tracking your results and what information is there. It's a little dated. We're going to update it again this year, but it kind of uses the same screenshots I used before. So get onto that account. Make sure you have it, get it updated, make sure you download those donor names, and get ready to join us in marketing the CFC in September, okay? Any questions before we turn it over to Bruce and the Cahoots game? Jen's got a question. You in the back, yes.
Thanks, in the back. Hey, great question from Setrock. Did we want to show the results of our poll? How many people are new versus been here a while before we lead into Coots. Also, I'm dropping right now into Elika what a beautiful name, Elika. Elika had asked about those impact words and how to promote those. So I just dropped the impact poster into the chat for you. So feel free to take a look at that. And I think I saw the results pop up possibly.
Yeah, yep. 67% are 1 year to 5 years or less than 5 years. So that's typical. You guys are not alone. The questions that we're getting, Antonia, Bruce, Maureen, Kathy, you guys are crushing it, but we see these questions every year. And so if you're thinking it, ask it, because somebody else on this call, what are we at, still 300 plus, 380 people on this call are learning from your questions. So don't hesitate to ask it, and we can make sure that you get all your questions answered. And if not, we're going to have our emails available to you, and we'll get your questions answered afterwards to make sure that you're prepared. Again, nothing's happening now. Campaign, actually the site shuts down August 1st, and we're all getting ready to kick off and start marketing and training and educating all the stakeholders in August and September. So you guys are ahead of the curve just being here and getting this training today.
And definitely there are no silly questions. I had somebody ask me a question. I won't say the name. It was direct message with an apology, and no apologies accepted. They asked what OPM stood for. That's our boss, Office of Personnel Management. They make all the rules. They are with us here today, actually, which we are so grateful for their guidance and leadership and support. But acronyms, we are so close to this work. We eat this for breakfast. If we're talking about something you don't know, please call us on it. We definitely want to make sure that we're not confusing you, that you walk away feeling more educated and better equipped for this fall and not confused by any means. So
we're going to turn this over to Bruce and the Kahoot game. But before I do that, again, you go to the charities page and one of my favorite links, and they put it twice, where to turn for help. Click on that, and here's the Office of Personnel Management. If you have questions about policy or applications, go there. I'm going to do this again at the end, so this is how we're going to wrap it up too. The Central Campaign Administrator, the CCA, your CFC Charities page. You have questions about distributions or accessing the system, you go here. Need help with virtual charity fair, which will be something we will talk about when we talk about marketing your organization in the CFC. So doesn't have to make sense to you right now. You go here, National Charity Recruitment, that's us. Charity at MP May, if you have questions about joining the CFC or the benefit and value of being in the CFC. And then about your local zone outreach coordinator, you go here, okay? So this where to turn is one of my favorite pages to introduce everybody to. So you get kind of the who the individual folks are. Yeah, it'd be nice if you had one email address. And this is 4 million federal employees with, 8,000 volunteers across the country that are doing this fundraising for this institution, this 63-year-old institution called the Combined Federal Campaign. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of people, a lot of people dedicated to making this work for you. But it's your passion, it's what you guys do that make federal employees decide to give to the CFC. And we can't thank you enough for partnering with us and for joining us today on this training. So with that, Bruce, I'm going to stop share and then turn it over to you, and we're going to have a Kahoots game based on some of the information that you got. We're going to come back and then go over the last few things, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then answer and open it up to questions afterwards. So is that right, Bruce?
Yeah, and just real quick, if we missed your guys' questions in the chat because they were moving so fast, feel free real quick to bring them back to the forefront. We certainly did not mean to overlook anybody if we did. There's a lot of movement there. Go ahead, Bruce. Sorry about that.
Okay. Ready for some fun. The way this is going to work to play this game, and I'm sharing my screen, you're going to need a second device. So you're going to need to pull out your cell phone, your internet connected smartphone, your tablet, or you can, if you don't have one of those handy, you can open a second browser window and use that to play. So point your browser on your phone or your other browser window to www.kahoot.it. That's KAHOOT.it. And when you get there, you'll be prompted to enter a game PIN. That PIN number is 423-3171, the one you see here on my screen. Or you can just scan this QR code with your phone and it will take you right into the game. As you can see, a lot of names are popping up on screen here. So those are the people they've entered the game, and it will then prompt you to enter your name or a nickname. So go ahead and put a nickname in, whatever you want it to be. It could be the name of your organization, could be your own personal name. This is all just for fun. So we're going to give you just a moment to go ahead and enter this game. We got 120 people already in the game. That's fantastic. This is going to be one of the bigger ones that I've ever hosted. So pretty excited for that. So once we're ready to go, I'm going to click start, and then you will see some questions appear on screen one at a time. Each question will have 4 possible answers, and each answer will have a color associated with it. But on your phone, so you're going to see the questions on the screen of your computer. On your phone, you're going to see the color of 4 colored tiles that correspond to the answer of that question. And you'll click on the color that corresponds to the answer that you think is correct. And then the system will give you points for getting the correct answer, and it'll give you bonus points for being fast. So the faster you get the correct answer, the more points you get. And then between each round, between each question, the system will give us a kind of a leaderboard so we can see who's in the lead. So with 180 plus participants now and growing, this should be a very competitive game, and I'm excited. So just a few more seconds, and then we'll get going. Our apologies, just for time reasons, we can't delay too much. So If you can't get in the game, don't worry, just watch anyway and just have fun. So I think kind of hovering right at 183. And I don't see any, it was 184. Okay. So if you happen to see your name disappear, don't worry. It's probably because other people are joining and it will come back. You don't need to refresh your screen or anything. So 187. I'm going to go ahead and click start.
And Bruce, we are going to send a CFC prize from our Fort Worth CFC office. So
Yes.
if you are a winner, please plan to give us your information after the game.
Here comes the first question. When does the CFC application period start each year? So December 15th, December 1st, January 1st, or January 15th. That's the CFC application period. When does it begin? So if you think the answer is December 15th, you'll click the red tile on your phone, or the blue tile, or the yellow, or the green. So time's up. The correct answer is December 1st. A majority of you got it right. Way to go. Let's see who's in the lead. And we've got Claris Health, Amanda, Utah Food Bank from my hometown. Way to go, Utah Food Bank. And Igdanelli and NKF. Okay, here we go. Next question. When does the application period end? Is it January 15th? Is it February 14th with a 1 week late fee extension? Is it January 31st with a 1 month late fee extension? Or is it March 1st with a 2 week late fee extension? 3 seconds left. Look at all those answers pouring in. And the correct answer is yellow. It's January 31st. But if you miss that deadline, you do have an extra month to get it in. There's just a late fee that will then apply. Okay, let's see who's in the lead. And Claris Health remains on top. Then Amanda, Dang, Mitch, and Benjamin. Okay. Great work, everybody. Question 3. When does the CFC begin accepting donations each year? Basically, this is when does the campaign start officially? When do we start accepting donations? Is it October 1st, October 15th, September 1st, or the Tuesday after Labor Day? Most of you got the answers. 3 seconds left. The correct answer is September 1st, and the vast majority of you knew this. I'm very proud of you. I'd be concerned if more people didn't know this. September 1st, just about every year, September 1st is the first day of the campaign. Okay. Claris Health and Amanda still in first place. You guys really know your CFC. Then Mitch, Dang, and NKF. But we have Mitch moving up and NKF moving up. Okay. Where does your CFC charity listing information come from? This is the information displayed to donors at cfcgiving.opm.gov/offerings. Does it come from donor feedback forms from OPM, from the IRS master file, or does it come from you, the charity? Three seconds. The correct answer is it comes from you, the charity. It's the information that you submit as part of your CFC application every year. Okay. We have a new NKF moved up 1 spot, and Upwardly Global moved into the top 5. Claris Health still number 1. All right. Next question. When is the listing fee due date for 2024? The listing fee due date. Is it July 31st? Is it August 16th? Is it August 31st? December 31st? I know Mike addressed this, and I also saw that question and answer in the chat. So were you paying attention? 5 seconds left. The listing fee deadline is August 16th. Then the majority of you got it right. So great job. We have a new leader. It's Mitch with 4,532. Upwardly Global. We have, whoa, this question threw a lot of people. So next, where can I find my CFC donors from the prior year? Mike addressed this. Is it at cfccharities.opm.gov? Is it at givecfc.org? Is it opm.gov/combined federal campaign, or from Google Analytics? Where do charities get their charity donor information for those who release their information? And the answer is cfccharities.opm.gov. It's the very same website you used to apply. That's where you go to download that information during or after the campaign. Great. So many of you got it right. Let's see who's in the lead. Upwardly Global is moving upward. Well named. And Mitch, Luke, Melanie, and Lauren. All right, 2 questions left. Let's see who's going to be on the podium at the end. Where can I find my charity application information from the previous year? cfccharities.opm.gov. Is it givecfc.org? opm.gov/combined federal campaign, or all of the above? Where do you find your charity application information from the previous year? And the correct answer is, once again, cfccharities.opm.gov. Now, if you haven't gotten the hint yet, this is a really important website for you, the charity. It's where you apply. It's where you pay your listing fee. It's where you get your donor information. It's where you can see what your charity application info was from last year. So much good stuff. It's where you can contact the help desk to get questions answered regarding your application. Really important website for you. Okay, and last question, super tough one. Oh wait, we got to first see who's, okay, Upwardly Global. Luke moved into 2nd place, Melanie moved into 3rd place, and Lauren moved into 4th. Okay, last question, and it's a tough one. This is a possible multi-select. What is the most transparent public or private sector campaign in the world? Is it the Combined Federal Campaign, the Combined Federal Campaign, the Combined Federal Campaign, or don't pick this answer? What could it be? Toughest question yet. You can pick one or more. And of course, the correct answer, no matter what you picked, red, yellow, or blue, 8 people still picked don't pick. You guys are just, you people who picked that, you're rebels at heart. Gotta hand it to you. But let's see who is on top in the leaderboard. In 3rd place, Lauren W. In 2nd place, Upwardly Global. And in 1st place, the gold medal goes to Luke C. Fantastic job. Congratulations, all of you. 4th and 5th, we had Ashley H. and Julia S. So if you are on the podium, 1, 2, or 3, go ahead and who should we have contact? Antonia, me, you, Shell? I guess I'll just,
Yeah.
sorry?
You can have them, I guess, Antonia.
All right, send an email if you were on that winner's podium. I'll put it in the chat. Antonia@mpmay.com, and she will arrange to have a prize mailed your way. All right. So fantastic prizes worth up to $. Okay, and with that, I am going to stop sharing and kick it back over to Mike. Thanks for playing.
Thanks, Bruce. Excellent job. Love that game. Only thing better than the game is the presenter.
And Mike, just real quick, as a gift to everyone, whether you played or didn't play, I went ahead and dropped in the chat a zip file to the virtual backgrounds for CFC. So this fall, when you find yourself doing a virtual event as we lead into CFC events, feel free to use one of those virtual backgrounds to promote your charity in attendance at the events that you attend this fall virtually. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you all for playing along. We've done that at most of our kickoffs. We've done it where we had federal agencies competing against each other. And at first you don't want to get sucked into the competitive thing. And then at the end, it's like, come on. You know, you want to, because it's the speed thing that goes into it too that I love. So it's a fun game. So one of the things that we know, and again, we're gonna wrap this up in about half hour or so. So thank you all. I know a 2-hour meeting is a big ask. So hopefully you understand why we tried to break it up a little bit with the Cahoots game. And we're We're going to head into CFC events, marketing yourself in the CFC, and then we're just going to go back and review all the resources at givecfc.org. But I saw in the chat a lot of people asked about in-person and virtual events, and since 2020, it's been a very changing landscape, and so we've learned a lot during the last 3 years, and one of the things that we know is some charities really want to do in-person events, and some charities really like virtual events. In-person events, can take most of your day to get in the car and drive down to the Monroney Center and set up your table next to the food vans when they do a in-person event outside there, and they would rather just log into an event, give a 5-10 minute presentation, and ask people to support the Oklahoma City Food Bank. So it's up to your organization on what works best for you, but registering is the most important thing. So as Antonio goes through this, make sure that you are you understand, you ask questions, and you get how you register correctly. One of the things that you have to do is, Bruce runs the largest CFC campaign in the country, number 10 here, the Mountain States. And right below it is Desert Southwest. And when they ask for local charities, you can get local charities from Salt Lake City being asked to events in Denver, or somebody up in Idaho being asked or asking for local charities, and it might be somebody in Montana that wants to respond. So you have to, if you're in a large zone, use the tools that this registration that Antonio is going to walk you through. And if you don't have to do it today, if you have questions, you can absolutely contact us or contact CFC support. But get it right, you'll get invited to the events, and we believe strongly that it is a top benefit of participation is getting to market your organization at CFC events with federal employees, be it virtual or in person. All right, AG, over to you.
Thank you, Mike. And I want to apologize right off the bat because there are some lawn crews working right outside the office window here. So in case there's some extra noise, that's what's going on here. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Let's learn about events and how to participate, why you should participate, and get excited about the 2024 campaign. So the federal employees, they want to see you. They want to hear from you, the work that you do in their communities. You attending their events, whether you're doing it in person or virtual, is vitally important to the campaign. You also attending makes the event fun. Anytime there is a particular theme or something going on with that event, please ask your coordinator who's hosting the event if there's any additional component that you may be able to add. If it's centered around Halloween and they're everybody's in costume, think about joining in that fun and joining in the themes as well. And then, of course, it increases participation in the campaign anytime any one of you are participating in those events.
So, Antonia, I just want everybody to know, Antonia runs the combined federal campaign in the southern area. Everything in Texas, also 20, which is New Orleans. She has more than 15 years of experience running the campaign and has the #1 USPS account in the country in Dallas-Fort Worth, and let me tell you, they have a need for events. They love having charities come to events. So Antonia is the best at explaining the value and getting charities to events. If you're lucky and you live in the DFW area or anywhere in Texas, you get to work with Antonia and her event process. So there you go. Do you want me to go to the website, AG, or do you want me to stay on the slide?
Yeah, well, you can go ahead and go to the website and I'll explain what these tips are that I have on this slide. Again, this slide is going to be shared with you, so you will have all of this information. But one of the things that really was important for all of the charities that participated in 2023, and we want to make sure that you all hear this and know this, is when you are registering to participate in events this year, you must select the county that you are willing to travel to. not the county that you're located in. So here in North Texas, I'm in Tarrant County. And so if my charity was located in Tarrant County and that was the only zone that I selected, those are the only invitations that I would receive if there was a federal agency in Tarrant County that was requesting your attendance. So if you are willing to travel outside of your territory to other counties, you want to make sure that when you register, you are selecting every county that you are willing to travel to. And there is an option also for you to select the entire zone. So that way, any county within your zone, you would receive invitations to those events. Just know the more counties you select, of course, the more invitations you are going to receive, but you need to be willing to travel to those zones. Something new for 2024 as well is that OPM is allowing you to choose one adjacent zone that you can register to participate in events for. However, you are not going to be able to select specific counties for that zone. If you select an adjacent zone, you will be registered to attend events for every county within that zone. So like Mike showed you that map, remember, if you are in a very large zone, you may potentially not want to do an adjacent zone. It might make sense more in those the Eastern Seaboard.
So here's the participate in CFC events.
And then, yeah, go ahead, Mike. So that's going to take you to the actual form where you will be registering. So this is where you're going to complete all of your charity information, which cause weeks potentially you want to be able to be selected for. You do not have to select cause weeks, but you definitely can share that because sometimes charitable organizations coordinators will request specific charities that fit within a cause. So, whatever you are already registered for, those, your NTEE codes, there are various causes that kind of fall in line with those. So select those causes. I would go ahead and put all three of them. So again, you have more opportunities to participate in additional events. English, Spanish, both English and Spanish, of course, are options, whether you're a local charity or a national or international charity. And then here is where you're going to select the zones that you reside in. And again, that additional local zone registration as the option. And then of course, you want to be able to notate whether you're going to be doing virtual events or in-person events, both events, because of course, there's going to be additional information for you should you receive those invitations. Then you have the point of contact, who will be receiving the invitations. This is very important. Whoever you add here, those are the people that will be receiving the invitations. So if you just put, maybe your director of operations or your CEO on there, those are the people that will be receiving the invitation, and they may not be, readily available to register or RSVP for event invitations. So assign whichever person is going to be responsible for actually RSVPing these events and put that information there.
This is not the person up here, your name, your email, your phone number that's going to be invited.
Right.
That's just contact information.
Mm-hmm.
This is the person that's going to be invited. Okay? Yeah, Jen. You're muted.
Antonia, I know there was a place for them to go last year. If they've already entered this information, but they need to make a change now that they're, we do better when we know better. They're learning here today. Who do they email if they need to make a change to their current registration?
They can contact the support desk, the CFC support at charity.org, or you can reach out to your local area director. We can also get in and update that information for you. So we can definitely do that. I was on a training just this morning. There are about 150 charities that are already registered. So it is open. You can go in and register today, but if you have questions before doing so, just let us know and we can help walk you through that process as well.
Perfect. And I did drop the registration link into the chat. I know there was a few people asking how to get to that page. So it is in the chat for you.
And then right below there, you do see that you can register for the entire state again, or again, selecting those specific counties that you are able to travel to participate in events.
I think that feature there, Antonia, too, where you can add a second person is important to highlight. Because, you know, Jen might be out and not answering her email box. And some of these requests that come through are time sensitive. So, you know, don't be shy to, I would probably always have a backup person that can receive these communications as well as yourself or whoever it is at your organization.
And if you have
Yep.
turnover mid-campaign and you need to adjust that, again, reach out to us and we can get in and adjust that information for you.
Yeah, Bruce.
Questions in the chat that I thought were really good and should probably be addressed vocally. For virtual fairs, do they have to register for the zones for virtual charity fairs?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Still have. And the
If
other
you're
question
if you're a
was,
local charity, if you're a local charity in New York, you're not invited to a local charity fair in, even if it's virtual, in North Carolina.
Another question was, I was only getting in-person event invitations last year, but didn't receive any virtual invites. What do I need to do to get both?
Well, that would be one of two reasons. Either you didn't select the option for in-person and virtual events, or potentially there were no virtual events hosted in that zone for last year.
Thank you.
And I think one of the things that we're seeing is people put, again, I'm going to say, you know, I want to be able to go to all Texas, and you just clicked Tarrant County because that's where you're located. And so you might be located in a smaller county outside of the metropolitan. You're ready to go into, you know, if you're in, you know, national capital area, you want to be able to go to all the events outside the Beltway, and now in Chesapeake Bay, and you need to check those counties where you will travel to, not where you're located. Usually what happened last year, if you're in the Bay Area here, you know, you clicked a small county, Alameda County, and that's where you were located, and all the events were in San Francisco, Marin, or down in Santa Clara, and so you didn't. It wasn't explained to you, and that's why we wanted to make this emphasis today and make sure everybody gets it right.
Antonia, what is the email? Remind me, please, for their help desk. We have somebody who's looking at Nebraska, and there's a county that's missing.
CFC support at charity.org.
Yeah, it's on the screen right now.
At charity.org.
It's possible that some states are divided between two zones. I'm not sure if Nebraska is one of those. Looks like it's not. So it probably is just an omission.
Yeah,
sometimes some counties are in one zone and others are in a different zone.
So Curtis, the other Curtis Rumbaugh, you could email CFC support at charity.org and let them know. Going back to that slide where we talked about the different contracts, the Common Core Services support contract that manages this, they will be able to update that. And then I did see somebody ask about Zone 32. They were looking for, again, Zone 32 has merged. And so Zone 32 and Zone 31 now is Zone 39. So you're going to want to look for Zone 39 Mid-Atlantic CFC. And that is the National Capital Area, Chesapeake Bay, former CFC zones, now called Mid-Atlantic Area CFC.
Okay, and so there's the registration link there on the portal as well. But one of the other things that we want to make sure that you know is what these invitations are going to look like. It will be coming to you via email. I want you to whitelist CFC support at charity.org. That is where the emails are coming from. There is a request ID number that is associated with every invitation that you receive. So that's a good way for you to keep those organized when you're tracking invitations and which ones you're RSVPing for. But keep those. Your RSVP link is going to be in that email, and any information, any additional information regarding that event is going to be in that email. So you want to keep that, all of those that come through for you, and then submit the RSVP within the requested time frame. The email will tell you what the time frame is that's given for you to RSVP, generally about a 3 business day window. And then you will receive either a confirmation email that you've been selected, that the event is already full, or that you've been waitlisted. And if there is somebody who pulls out, then you of course will receive first dibs on coming into that event. And then any charity who is confirmed will receive a reminder email 3 days before the event, just to make sure that you are aware that that event is coming up. But please always add those to your calendar, whichever staff member will be attending those. And then finally, to wrap us up, just kind of some best practices for attending events, whether you're doing in-person or virtual events. Tell your story. We want you to make sure that people remember you, and they remember the stories that are told, the people that are affected by the work that you do. Bring giveaways. That's a great way to draw people into your table if you're hosting a table at a charity fair. Promote your attendance on your website and social media. Get onto the CFC Facebook page and respond on any events that are being posted there. And then always any material that you are bringing to the events, put your CFC code on there. That is so important. That's the easiest way for a federal donor to find your charity when they're going to do a charity search. And then for virtual events, of course, becoming tech savvy. We are all in this virtual world, learning all of the different platforms that are available, how to share your screen, how to do all of the things that takes to be in a virtual event. Show what you do, share pictures, share video, all of those types of things. Again, promoting your attendance, and then displaying your CFC code. Whether you have a virtual background that has your CFC code, sometimes people have their logo with the CFC code just on a poster or a board behind them. Anywhere that you can have that information readily available, just to make it super easy for a donor to be able to give to you if they find your organization something that reaches them. And then one little piece of information that's here at the bottom of this slide. This is a kind of an overall briefing, but make sure as we kind of move forward and closer to campaign season, there will be charity briefings that will be provided by each of your OCs. So whether you are in one of the 21 zones that are served by MP May, or the other 14 zones that are served by Tribal Tech, each of us will be doing charity briefings that will have a lot of additional information in order to guide you through this process. And so attending one of those sessions will be very important for your organization. But that is what I have for you on events. So if you have any additional questions, you can put it in the chat and we'll answer any of your additional questions.
We did have a couple in there, Antonia. We had somebody asked if we could describe virtual events with a little more detail. So virtual is going to be something that's hosted, whether it's on Teams or Zoom, that's organized by a federal employee. And so they're going to choose the platform that works best for their organization, their agency. Some agencies use Zoom, some use Google Meet. They're using different platforms. So they're going to set up it could be something as simple as a staff meeting where they just ask you to come talk about the CFC, your organization, what you do, and your participation in the CFC. Or it could be an event where they have a virtual charity fair, and that they have, let's say, 6 different charities. Maybe this week we're talking about hunger. And so we've got a bunch of food organizations, local, national, international at the table, that are all given 2 to 3 minutes to talk about their organization and what they do. Guys, I want to stress this to you, please. I'm stressing this, emphasizing this with great stress. If they give you 5 minutes, you take 3. If they give you 5 minutes, you take 3. Don't take 5, don't take 7. Do not take 7, because they will not invite you back. They run on a very tight clock, and anytime you go over, you're taking from somebody else time that they are not going to get now. So it's so important that you respect the time that you're given. And when you do, you're given 5 and you only take 3, you are thought of and invited back. They want you to come back because you have respected their time. So please be cognizant to be brief, be bright, and be gone when you're presenting virtually. We see it time and again where charities will go over their time allowance, and federal employees come back to us and are not happy with that situation. So there was also, somebody asked what the OC was. That's an outreach coordinator. That's us as the contractor. And then there was one question about, and I didn't understand it, but it says, we want to register to participate in all virtual CFC events in all 36 zones. They said, where was it? Bruce, did you see that one? I feel like you started to chime in.
Turn your question. Can you repeat it?
We want to register to participate in all virtual CFC events in all 36 zones. We will not automatically be enrolled in the virtual event option. I didn't understand the question. Do you know what they're asking, Antonia?
I'm guessing, are
Well,
they?
you can only do that if you're a national.
Mhm.
And so if you're a national and you want to register for all virtual events, you click that, and then you agree to the guidelines, and the person that's going to be invited is going to be this person. And that's one of the things that's a little tricky about this, because, seems like it would be the same way for a local charity, but in this case, the way they have it set up is this is the person that's going to be requested. And we want the same POC. Oh, actually, no, sorry. We want the same POC in all 36 zones. Or you want a different register a person in each zone for local events. So let me correct myself. I apologize. If you want different people in Alaska versus Hawaii, you need to enter that and then put in the person that you want to have for Alaska. If you want the same person for all 36 zones to do virtual events, then you put in somebody else or put in that name, and that will be the person that's invited to all virtual events. But that only works if you're a national organization. Local charities don't have that option.
No, local charities can only register for their CFC zone and then one adjacent CFC zone if they choose.
Mike, Laura said, thank you for clarifying. Thank you, Laura, for your patience.
Luke Christie also says, thanks, but I'm not seeing OC information for my zone.
So go to your zone and you say, let's say it's you're
Which
lucky
zone
enough
are
to
you
be
in?
in Antonia's zone. You go to North Texas, and then at the
He's
bottom,
probably, yeah, which zone are
it
you
has your
in?
contact information. So that's how you would contact Antonia. Me and Jen are also there, as is Courtney.
Mike, I
So
think
go to-
some of the other zones, other than MP May ones, do not have the
Don't have-
contact information. I
meant.
think that's what she's referring, or they're referring to.
So
If you
I would-
click on Peach Belt, Mike, that's the zone he's looking for.
Yeah.
So
I would then go to where to turn for help. Down at the bottom, local zone outreach coordinator, send an email to CFC support@charity.org and say, who's my contact in, and we get these all the time. People can come this way, or they can go through the map. Since we're a little, deeply into this, we know about the map, but just go here, send an email and say, who's my contact at Peach Belt? And I'm a local charity, and I just want to make sure I get on, get on their radar.
good observation.
Such good questions. Every time I look up, it's like 63 new questions in the chat. So again, drinking from a fire hose. There's more training. They'll start in August with the volunteers in September. Last year in our MP May zones, we did a September training, an October training, a November training to get everybody used to Giving Tuesday and kind of when it really gets busy. And then we do a December, January training where we talk about where we're at in the campaign and then get you ready for the CFC application process. So there's plenty of opportunities. You don't have to memorize all this, just get some ideas and know where your resources are. When it comes to yep.
Real quick, sorry, before we jump into marketing, I had two questions. They came to me directly, people asking about where do we pay again? So would you mind just showing that page real quick? I'd love to. So important. You guys have gone through so much to get here, to apply, to get approved, to sit through these long trainings with us. Paying this listing fee is so critical, and I appreciate people asking where do we go to pay. So this is the site you're going to go log into. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you log into it, and it's going to look something like this, where it's going to have your year, and it's going to say 2024, and then it's going to say view and details, and it'll either say listing added or paid or not paid, and you click on view, and then you go in through there and go through that payment process. And again, it'll say 2024. You go on to cfccharities.opm.gov. And if you have any problems logging in, if you're new, if the person that did the application left in March, handed it off to you, you do need to go in and call those folks, contact them, and get access. You have plenty of time, and they're very used to getting these questions about getting access to account, because we're all familiar with the turnover in development nonprofit or development departments for our CFC nonprofits.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, so a lot of what we're going to cover here, has already been talked about. Marketing the CFC. We talked about all the resources that are available. When you go to charities and you go down here for currently participating charities, click promote yourself in the CFC, and here's where you get to download the logo. CFC logo download. You have to do here's where you download the Give Happy if you want to include that when you go to a site. If you want to use the CFC QR code like I have right here, that's right there for events. If you want to include that on a flyer. And then, be sure to ask your supporters to support you again. And that goes back to those donors that had given to you in the past. And then also through your social media, know that the fastest growing sector of the combined federal campaign is retirees. And reaching out to these folks that have given for their entire 30-year career, love giving to the CFC, don't want to give to you directly, folks. I don't mean to break it to you. You might not want to hear this. If 80% of the people in the CFC don't release their name, that's because they want to give anonymously. And it's one of the real strengths of the CFC. If I give to 5 charities each year and release my name, I have a 20-year campaign, I'm getting reminder emails from charities nonstop throughout the year. If I give to 5 charities and don't release my name, I know I support them every month. They don't reach back out to me, and I can change my gift every year depending on what my priorities are that year. It's a reality. It's one of the strengths of any workplace giving, where the name is not automatically released or they can withhold it. Acknowledge it, embrace it, and know that whatever you can do in your social media channels to remind federal employees in your area and retirees that they can give to you because of the convenience of giving through payroll deduction, because of the vetted charities. That list is vetted. There's, it's a 6-month process that federal employees go through to approve the participating charities. They take great pride in it. And that's one of the strengths of marketing in the CFC, is letting folks know that this list is vetted. These has the highest public accountability standards, financial reporting standards of any workplace campaign. And so they have great faith in this list. And so messaging that you do have a CFC number and that your organization is part of the CFC is a very important component for you. I know you have your own Giving Tuesday efforts. We're not asking you, we're promoting it of Giving Tuesday for you. But remember that putting a message out there in the fall that you're part of the CFC and you're a proud partner of the CFC, and using, there's a lot of, I like they have a messaging statement here that you can download, and some of this stuff, because we haven't started with all the materials for 2024 yet. As you come back to this, you're going to continue to get more information to help you plan your messaging to federal employees starting, again, site opens in September. Really think about, starting to get your messaging into gear, your thank yous, October 1st. That's when the campaign gets moving. That's when the events, most of them start, and then starting in, after Giving Tuesday, 50% of the campaign, $50 million are raised. More than that, 60% of the campaign, $50 million is raised the last 6 weeks. Connecting through social media, and then, promoting your CFC involvement. And we have graphics, we have templates that you can use. You can download those and using these graphics that we have here. And this will continue to grow, the amount of information they have. So is there any questions in the chat? And then I think, Jen, you have a success story.
Yes. So in fact, Laura just said, hey, can we promote CFC and Giving Tuesday separately? Is this frowned upon? All promotion is encouraged. So, whether it's Giving Tuesday or the Cause Weeks, you guys already have your followers. You have your community of people that you support, the communities you live in. Promoting that you are a CFC approved charity, any way that you can, we strongly encourage. So, and this is one example of success that I want to give you. Veteran Tickets Foundation, CFC code 44909, also known as VetTix, is an organization that gives free tickets to veterans. And every year, for the past several years, it never fails. I know people in the federal government, they'll send me screenshots of the text messages they get, the emails they get. You can go to their website and you can see how they promote themselves. This organization has been consistently marketing their participation in the CFC through text, email, social media. Their website has they simply have the CFC logo. In fact, Mike, if you want to go to VetTix website and show them this, it's pretty brilliant what they're doing. So this is just one example of success. And I say that because in 4 years, they've doubled their money in this program. But you go to VetTix, you scroll down to the bottom where you see all the little badges, everybody's got one. You click on their CFC code and it pops up already for 2025, guys. They're already on it. They show the donor how to give and what code to pick, theirs, the 44909, to give. So they're already telling people that are coming to their site where to go to give, and how to support them through the combined federal campaign, so that they are supported. So this is just one example of the importance of promoting your organization, social media, however you're marketing to your marketing efforts include newsletters, billboards. I've seen CFC on a billboard before. I've seen it on the back of a bus. So get creative, and yes, any and all ways that you can promote your involvement, your participation in CFC. Don't forget to include that logo in your code. It's a very small piece of real estate for potentially quite a bit of a return on your investment. Bruce?
Yeah, Mike, can I share a quick question from the chat that you could address?
Sure.
I think sometimes we make the assumption that people, that all charities know what a federation is or what it's not. But someone asked, how do I know, or I forget what the question is, but basically it would be good to have a quick explanation of the difference between an independent charity and a charity that's a federation or a member of a federation.
So federations are organized in the combined federal campaign specifically to help the campaign administer, market, and teach the charities how to succeed in the combined federal campaign. The local federation most people know of is the United Way. And so United Way will have its members, help its members process applications, might even do the applications for them, will help its members market in the campaign, will come up with new marketing ideas that are unique and proprietary to the United Way. And then we'll also get those charities into non-CFC campaigns as part of federation membership. And then you have organizations like Animal Charities of America and other organizations that are national charities, and they list their members by virtue, and local animal charities by virtue of being an association of like-minded animal organizations, and they are helped into the campaign. They help market for the organization, and it's a benefit to those member charities to aggregate and share costs, so they get a bigger bang for their buck, not only in CFC, but usually charities also work in state employee campaigns, private sector campaigns, and other marketing opportunities. So if you have a question about a federation, you would then just click on this and then contact that federation or go to their website directly to learn more about what the benefits are of listing with that federation, whether that federation is accepting members, and whether you have a local federation or a national federation option is something that CFC doesn't. They want the charities to explore those options. They don't have an opinion one way or another. There is a benefit for federation members that the costs to apply are less because of the benefits that the federations provide by aggregating 15 or 100 or 150 charities and submitting them to the CFC. And OPM recognizes that benefit by giving them a lower application fee. So we are right up against, the top of the hour. I again take you to my favorite page, which is the where to turn for help page, and we're gonna, this will be the last one, but all those acronyms, OPM, CCA, NMOC, NCROC, and OC, these are all described for you on the where to turn for help, and on that big blue button on the right, these are the questions that these folks, people on this call, my team, OPM, everybody that is supporting the CFC can help you answer these questions as needed. So this is a great page. Make sure you bookmark it. If you have any questions, just go here and then shoot an email to those people. One other, I think, we saw this a lot last year. This email, CFC Marketing at Tribal Tech, I don't know if that was put in the chat. Whitelist this too, because you have a lot of information that comes in, newsletters that come in from the marketing folks that will get you started in marketing your organization. Oh, signing up for virtual charity fairs. That's one thing we didn't cover. And I don't know. Yeah. So here's another option for you where organizations, and I don't know if we have any of these. Hold on. There's also the opportunity, and so it's not up right now because they're redoing it for next year, to submit videos to the CFC, and that's promoting your organization beyond just this list where you have this information here. There's also the opportunity to submit a video that is connected to the virtual charity fair that donors can also search. The length of the virtual charity fair video is 60 seconds, and that's as long as it can be. So some organizations really have fun making it CFC specific. Usually the less stylized it is, the more it connects with federal employees. Jen and Antonia started something a couple years ago where we had charities just put down 30-second thank yous to donors that we would share. We were looking at them earlier today and realized what a great way to communicate, where they'll put them on a loop and it's local charities in our zone saying thank you. And just 30 seconds putting in their CFC number and thanking federal employees for supporting them. Because I get back to, it's a 63-year-old tradition, and the volunteers that do this appreciate that they are part of that tradition. But in reality, it's your programs, it's the work you do that inspires all of us. The federal employee, the volunteers, the outreach coordinator, the folks at OPM, the folks at CFC Giving and the CCA, NMOC, all of us are inspired by the work you do. We thank you for partnering with us, and we're so happy to be here to kick off the 2024 campaign with you. And thank you very much for joining us today. Jen, Antonia, Kathy, Maureen, Bruce, thank you so much for handling the storm that is a chat with 380 people that are there. You guys did excellent. These are all what are called our area coordinators. Maureen runs the northern area, 6 zones, all the way from Northern Lights over to Pittsburgh. Bruce does the west, from Albuquerque up to Alaska. We talked about where Antonia does it, and then we also have another area director that is Michelle Werner that is not here today. But we're going to open it up. If anybody wants to raise their hand and unmute themselves, I think we can allow
Are we
that.
providing the slides, Mike? And if so,
Hold on for a second. I can drop them in the chat before we
Okay, perfect.
go. I think I can.
I think we can. So,
I think I can. I think I can.
Dara asked me, and so we'll try to get that link into the chat, Dara, for you.
Anybody want to unmute and ask a question?
Yeah, we just gave you a lot of information, so we can appreciate that some of it may be over your head a little bit, or you might be a little confused. So feel free to either in the chat or unmute yourself, like Mike said. We're here to support you guys.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Quick question. We're trying to get our marketing materials together. Is there a way to have a QR code that people could look at that would take them directly to our information on the CFC giving page? Or do
No.
you have to go through the CFC landing page to donate and then choose us? I'm trying to figure out how to use a QR code in marketing.
Yeah, so you could create your own. You could go to a QR code generator, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
you could create one where you come to this page and search yourselves. But I guess what I'm seeing here, Mike, is that they don't actually have a page. It's just a pop-up box.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the QR code is going to work as we're looking at this together. I would say what you should do in this case then would be to create a page on your own website where you take this content. It could be a screenshot, create your own landing page and then direct them, but also it wouldn't necessarily direct them to giving. So
I think this VetTix is a good solution. It's probably the best way to do it. So this would be the landing page, and then they'd have to engage the giving site.
yeah, I agree with that.
This
So
way.
go to the VetTix, click on their that logo like we showed you, and maybe mirror that on your own page and make that your QR code, because it does point the donor to the site and instructs them through how to donate.
Okay, would you mind putting that URL in the chat so we can grab it? It's real tiny.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my question is, what percentage of donors let it be known who they are? In other words, self-identify, provide an email or something so that my organization could reach out to them in the future?
About 20%.
Okay, thanks.
Tracy, you have your hand up. Thanks.
Yes,
Great.
I do. Thank you. What is the reason for pledge amounts being so much higher than actually received amounts? Is it like people left employment? I've never been able to figure that out.
There's 2 reasons for pledge amounts, and it's very clear. There's what's called a distribution fee. So the cost for the campaign are not covered by the upfront fees. And generally over the past 7 years, they've averaged between like 18 and 22%. Those numbers are going down, but that is a very, very competitive amount that's deducted up front or with your first distribution. And if you pull up any United Way or state employee campaign cost, having under 25% for a workplace campaign, regardless of one with these systems, this marketing, engaging 4 million federal employees to give, there's a cost to that. And OPM is continually trying to reduce those costs. As a contractor, I can tell you they are. And then it's a very competitive rate for any workplace campaign. And then there's that other point where some people, after they've pledged $100 or $600, may decide during the year to cancel that pledge, and you can't restart your pledge. So let's say I give $50 a month and I go home and my wife says, you know, we're going to have another baby. And I'm like, well, I got to stop my CFC pledge because I'm going to start a college fund. That money is what's called uncollected pledges. And those are people that just cancel their pledge. If they leave federal service, they also need to terminate, and then we worked with federal employees all the time, they're leaving federal service. They terminate, the CFC gift comes, but so many of those folks will then go to give you another gift by applying through and giving through their annuity. So the distribution fee, and remember the other thing is, and this is important when you get to this page where you get to see these gifts, when you look at donations received versus pledges and you click view, I don't have it here, but you'll see that you get money, and a lot of folks don't know this and recognize it. You get it. These are monthly payroll deductions. Nobody has the $20,000 that have been pledged. It's coming out monthly from federal employees all across the country. And so the money that's received comes in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, and March. So you have to wait till the entire year is completed. That means for this year's 2023 campaign, final payment is going to be, this would be a great Cahoots question, Bruce, March of 2025. So don't think it's over in December, or don't think your first payment is the amount. You're going to get 80% of that money plus that uncollectible pledges or so, and it's going to come all the way through March of the next year.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you. It's a great question.
One more question, please. So I just went to www.vedex.org/CFC instructions, and it is for 2023. It says, here's how you participate in the 2023 with the campaign ending January 15, 2024. When will the new information be up? When will that link be?
Well, I mean, they're going to update it. Yeah, I mean, they have 2025 up here. We don't have a 2024 CFC. They don't have the screenshot until September 1, 2024.
Yeah, they update that on September 1.
Yeah, and remember, there's nothing for you to do. No money is going to be raised until September starts. And even in September, I don't know, what do we have? Over the 70, 75, 78 million, 80 million is going to be pledged. I think we have 1 or 2 million pledged in September. So
understood. It's just that I'd like to do my marketing materials in advance of the day the program begins.
You can't.
Yeah,
when the program opens it's going to be on the 24th, and that's when the first time any of us, that's my team included.
If you wanted to like mirror this and make it 2024, join the 2024 campaign and put the correct information here, just use a little text box, place it on top, and put the year 2024.
Okay, the URL will remain correct.
Yeah, their URL for that giving site ain't going to change. You could update that screenshot, but that screenshot itself of the website, they won't change that until September 2nd, actually, because the campaign opens September 2nd this year.
Thank you.
Sure.
We're getting some feedback. I think somebody unmuted themselves. Okay. So again, thank you all very much for joining us. It's wonderful to see everybody and for everybody to stick around, ask questions. I thought we were going to get out of here before Bob raised his hand, Jen.
Really?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. Yes, Mr. Jennings.
Well, an important item came up in the chat that I just feel compelled to address personally. And it has to do with the CFC 50 Commission finding that donors wanted all of their money to go to the agencies they were designating. And OPM tried to implement this with a listing fee and application fee and the distribution fee. and it hasn't worked. So we formed a work group to revisit all of the CFC 50 commission stuff. We have a presentation coming up in August on what we did about that. Because Rolanda, I agree with you. I would like all of my donation to go to the agency that I'm designating. I realize that my donation, because CFC has to pay for itself. And so we've got to find the money to do that. It's always historically come out of the proceeds from the campaign. We are looking at some really inventive ways to possibly redo that, because we agree with you that the donor's money needs to make it all the way to you. And we're trying to find ways to do that. Please stay tuned.
Thank you, Bob. Jen, there's a one for you for somebody that's running the NRC. It looks like in Maryland. So if you want to copy that down, we have some federal employees here that are also learning how the CFC works, not just charities. But thank you for Ronaldo. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your service to the CFC as a volunteer at NRC. It's wonderful. Okay, everyone. Well, we got it right to the top of the hour. You guys, I will turn it back to the Set Rock group. If that works for you, Elizabeth, Robin, do you guys want to sign off? Is there anything else that you need from the presenters?
There is nothing I need from the presenters. I would hand it over to Robin for any closing remarks, and if she wanted to mention any of the upcoming sessions that are scheduled for this week.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike and Jen and everyone from MP May. It was a great discussion, and we did go the full 2 hours. Amazing stuff. So just want to say that there have been some questions in the chat about whether these videos will be shared, and they will. I confirmed that they will be placed on YouTube, and a link will be shared with all registrants, and it might be on some other locations as well. For the rest of this week, I encourage you to look at the agenda. I know tomorrow we have workplace best practices and nudging the good, which are behavioral insights into workplace giving and volunteerism. So that's an exciting topic. And we also, I believe, have campaign events. So I think that's all I have, and I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. And thank you so much again for your partnership. Have a great day.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.